to know. Now if you go to the first PowerPoint, you'll see several things. That first PowerPoint we have in the online class lists an overview of psychology as a field. And what I'd like to do at the first class is kind of go over those terms that are listed. So you can pull up your PowerPoint at some point and look at those terms. I'm going to go over them with you, and hopefully you'll see them in the screen here as we talk. The first one is science. Psychology is a science, and you'll hear that, and you might question that. You know, why? Well, I thought biology was a science, but not psychology. The thing that connects all science is all sciences gather information using the scientific method. Okay? The scientific method is a clear-cut step process in which scientists go about examining the topics they are interested in. For example, if you were interested in children and television and you wanted to know, does television affect my child and how? Well, if you were a scientist, you would come up with a hypothesis, then a clear-cut method on who is going to be in your study, how many people in your study, and a procedure for your study, a procedure that was clear so that anyone who read that study could replicate it. See, science requires that you repeat everything and it's repeatable so that you're not the only one who finds the result. The other thing about psychology that's kind of interesting, other than it's a science, is that the information psychologists study, we would like that information to be empirical. Empirical is anything that is observable through the senses. So, for example, if I ask an empirical question like, is it raining outside? You could say, yeah, that's an empirical question because you can go outside and observe it. Now, if I ask another empirical question, will it rain tomorrow? You might think, wait a minute, that's not an empirical question because we won't know till tomorrow. The key in empirical questions is not whether you can observe it right now. The key is it observable? Can you observe it tomorrow? Well, then that makes it an empirical question. Could you observe it last week? Did it rain last week? That's another empirical question. So empirical questions are key in the science of psychology. Now, we are also faced with a challenge for psychology, and that is, am I thinking? Is that an empirical question? Well, we try to make it empirical. We try to use information that we can observe through the senses, such as magnetic resonance imaging, MRIs. You know, we can look at somebody's brain through these machines, through using X-ray, through using computerized technology, but, you know, can we actually observe a thought? Not yet. But we can try to make it as empirical as possible, and that is our challenge in psychology. The next term in their list is truth. And truth is what scientists are always looking for. They want truth to be as empirical as possible, and they want their definitions compelling so that you will believe what they believe. Many years ago, Galileo told everyone that the Earth was not the center of the universe. The solar system was centered by the sun and the Earth was moving. That truth was pretty hard to accept in that day. So the truth can change. It depends on how many people agree with you. Poor Galileo never really got the full benefit of the fact that he was correct, that it was the sun that was the center of the solar system, not the Earth. So truth changes. Science helps change what the truth is. The truth is relative, and basically it's what the majority agrees upon. All right? So that's the truth. Theories are also kind of an interesting aspect of science, and your book really describes very clearly what a theory is. So I'm going to let you think about that. I'm going to let you think about the other terms on the list. The final term on the list, the eclectic, actually we have a couple of terms there. We have eclectic and critical thinking. And eclectic just means a lot of different perspectives. So psychology is eclectic in that it's not just information derived by psychologists doing science. Sociologists are involved, anthropologists, biologists, chemists, all those fields come together and add to the very, very large field of psychology. And the final term, the critical thinking, is one of the most important qualities of our class. We're going to focus on critical thinking throughout the whole semester. So I want you to think about what you think critical thinking is. I'm going to throw out some things for you to think about. One is, do you always know when you don't know something? Do you know when you know something? Have you ever been thinking about, why did I do that? What caused me to do something? Well, critical thinking is the process by which you evaluate your own thinking. You think about your thinking. You are able to decide what you know and what you don't know, and when that little boundary happens. You're going along thinking, I know this, and you're in math class, and 2 plus 2, I got that, and then you start thinking, God, what am I going to have for dinner? And then the teacher is talking about something you have no clue. Something happened between you knowing and you not knowing. Critical thinking would help make that bridge for you. Knowing what happened, where was I, what don't I know? Because in order for you to ask good questions, you have to figure out at some point, I don't know that, I need to ask about it. We have a questions link in our discussions thread, so if you have any questions about this, if you have any questions about anything in the class, send them to me, write them down. Know when you don't know. In our next lecture, we're going to be talking a little bit more about what psychologists do.